Dear friends and viewers, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, while unveiling a statue of Swami Vivekananda on the JNU campus on Thursday, suggested that national interest should not be compromised for individual ideologies and thoughts. He urged the students' community to imbibe the thoughts of Swami Vivekananda to make India a great nation and a global power. He had praised the role played by Mahatma Gandhi for a common cause for getting Indian independence from the British imperialism, and also the role played by the JNU students against the dark days of emergency, but criticized the JNU students' agitation against the Citizenship Amendment Act, hostel fees hikes, and blockading of academic activities. In this video, we shall discuss the original thoughts of Swami Vivekananda in the present scenario to address the current socio-economic issues that the nation is facing to come out of its deepening crisis on many counts. Dear friends and viewers, as we all know, Swami Vivekananda is one of the greatest philosophers and intellectuals of the pre-independent era the country ever produced. Swami Vivekananda urged people not to be fanatical about religion and believed in the unity and equality of all the religions. This is the core message of this video. He opposed untouchability tooth and nail and warned that if the discrimination based on caste and religion continues for another century, every one of us will be in a lunatic asylum. He considered that serving the downtrodden is the greatest service to the mankind and urged people to help the poor and needy person without any discriminations based on caste, religions, or linguistic barriers. Most of us have a misconception that he had focused only on the spiritual side of on persons, but also on other materialistic aspects such as economic freedom, individual freedom, and social freedom for individuals, so as to attain happiness in all walks of life, cutting across all the caste, religion, and linguistic barriers. According to Swami Vivekananda, individual freedom is one of the most component of freedom, and he had opposed any kind of intervention in individual freedom, and he had supported the right to privacy of individual person and opposed government intervention in the individual's freedom. That is, the right to privacy ought to be safeguarded by the state authorities in all earnest. And he had emphasized on the development of weaker sections of the society and wanted to wipe out the social barriers which curbs the growth of the society. Furthermore, he had focused on poverty alleviation and urged upon the people to feed the poor and needy rather than fulfilling one's spiritual needs. I could quote two of the best quotes of Swami Vivekananda. He who has served and helped him, one poor people seeing Shiva in him, without thinking of his caste or creed or race or anything. With him, Shiva is more pleased than with the man who sees him only in temples without providing help to the needy people or thirsty people in the society. What is the need of worshipping Shiva in temples? This is the most ridiculous statement given against the devotees who are going to the temples without worrying for the fellow human beings who have been suffering from many diseases, many starvation, etc., etc. The second quotation is the most important thing that you might have come across in many of the books. That is, Swami Vivekananda had addressed the Parliament of Religions final session in Chicago on September 27, 1893. I quote, "If anybody dreams of the exclusive survival of his own religion and the destruction of the others, I pity them from the bottom of my heart and point to them that upon the banner of every religion will soon be written in spit of resistance, elf and not fight, assimilation and not destruction, harmony and peace and not dissensions." Finally, I conclude that during the visit of Swami Vivekananda in the 18 and 90s in Kerala, Kerala society was full of filth due to caste system and inequalities, called the Kerala state a lunatic asylum. This was the state of affairs while Swami Vivekananda was visiting Kerala en route to Rameswaram. But today, Kerala ranks and tops on education, health, social and other communal harmony. The final message is that the Kerala government has appointed 36 non-Brahmins, including 6 Dalits, as priests in Hindu temples, including Sabarimala temples, etc., etc. On the other hand, in Tamil Nadu, the government of Tamil Nadu in the year 2006, the DMK regime, by a government order, issued a notification stating that all castes would become archakas provided they have necessary training about temple rituals and practices. In fact, the GO was made by the Tamil Nadu government in the year 2006 and it went to the Supreme Court of India. Even though the Supreme Court of India has given positive signals for the appointment of archakas in Tamil Nadu, it is still pending. My point is that while Dalit priests or non-Brahmins could be able to become priests in Kerala, priests as temple priests in Kerala, why not in Tamil Nadu? The BJP and other Hindutva forces in the name of Lord Muruga making a lot of hue and cry in making this Vel Yatra in the name of Lord Muruga. My question is that all the persons who are in the Hindu, that is fold, irrespective of their caste affiliations, including Dalits, should be made as priests in Hindu temples. And the most important thing, the right to life lives in bringing the uneducated youth their employment opportunities in every walks of life, unless or otherwise providing employment opportunities. This will become a great cry only in the name of Lord Muruga. It won't work in Tamil Nadu. My question is that the speeches made by the Honorable Prime Minister of India in JNU is really a superb one, but things are really negative in the social context that should be changed. This is the final message I want to spread to the Indian society. Thank you so much.